All right, hello there, everyone. You should be able to see me. It's good to see you, everybody that's out there. I see you, Artful. Thank you for saying hello. Feel free to. It's good to have you here. Yeah, let me know where you're from. Hello. All right, we're gonna get this started. I thought I'd do a top 10 list if that works for you. Top 10 Illustrator Pro tips, things that I use like a lot that help me out a lot. So. That is the plan. So Farouk and everyone, let's get into this. Feel free to say hello in chat. Would love to hear from you. So let me just go ahead and switch screens. As you can see here, sure enough, I'm in Illustrator. That's right, I'm trapped in Illustrator. There we go. Finally seeing some names. Dohan, Nikki, Brandy, Robin. Hello from Detroit. Good to have you here. From Chile as well. Fantastic. That's what I'm talking about. Did a bunch of pro tips. Have a bunch of pro tips lined up for you. So let's get into this. Steve, what's up? Benjamin, cool. Sandy from Miami. UK in the house. Indiana. All right, Malaysia, cool. Well, let me make this worth your time. We're gonna do my top, there we go, top 10 Illustrator tips. First one I actually use is going full screen and hiding everything in Illustrator, because this is fairly new, but we go up to Window, there's presentation mode. And I know it doesn't have a shortcut next to it, but basically it's Shift F will bring you into presentation mode, because chances are you have all this junk on the sides, like logos and copies of text and things like that. And this just makes it look more presentable as you kind of present your design. So that's typically what I'll do. I'll remove those. That's my just first quick tip since I was presenting the slide. Now let's get into this. So another thing that you might run into, and I'm gonna select all of this text, and I'll go over here and I'll just pick a color, right? And let's crank up that color a lot, right? I'll go to my properties panel, check out the stroke, make sure that stroke is on the outside as well. But this is what you run into. It's like, hey, you know what? It looks fine, and maybe I'll just kind of, I don't know, make it a little brighter. I would love to throw a little pink in there. That's what it needs. It needs to be a little more pink. There we go. Right? This is the problem. This is what happens. You run into this. It's no longer filled, right? The T isn't flowing into the R and all that good stuff. So this is a problem. So what people typically do is they'll break up the text, right? You'll go in here and you'll create outlines. You can't edit it anymore. It's a huge issue actually, but you will like make it one solid object. But again, you can't edit it, so that's the problem. So what you need to do in this case is select your text down here in your appearance panel. You want to, hopefully you can see that, it's kind of small. Appearance panel right down here, you want to click right here, add a new fill, right? And this is where you overlay that with white, and guess what? It is still editable, as we can see, right? So that's what you want to do. Use the appearance panel, add a fill over it, and your text is still going to be editable. Cool. Papua New Guinea in the house. Good to see you. Michael J. Welch. Awesome. Serbia. Everybody's here. So this is really fun for me. I'm going to just do a quick night scene, okay? I have this text right here. That is fine, right? Let's just put all that text on its own layer. Why not? Paste in place. And let's just hide that, because I want to actually get into using the pencil right over here, the pencil tool. Here it is. Just hit N for pencil, right? And you have these different settings. So we can go from accurate to smooth, right? And you can turn on a number of items in here. But I'm gonna make this just like a meadow scene, right? So like a landscape, and I'll keep it actually at accurate, right? Initially, I'll click OK. Let's pick a nice color, just like a gradient. And now I can make like jagged mountains. And every single jagged point I have is going to give me a vector point, right? Like that. I'll just kind of drag down to the bottom. I'm just using a mouse. We'll connect that like so, right? And there we have all of those points as expected, right? But that's what I'll use. I'll use these options for my my designing, right? I'll have it kind of catch a little bit of that light like so, right? And that's what I have right there, those jagged mountains. The cool thing is, if I decide I want to redraw any part of this, right? A lot of people actually don't know this, but check this out. As I roll over this line, it says, hey, you know what? You can edit this part of this line. So you could just draw and get rid of that point like that. So you can redraw and reshape this all you want just by drawing over it. Super easy. Hopefully you get the idea, but that's what I would do. There we go. In this case, as I start to make this scene, hit N for pencil. We're going to take it up a notch, just one. We can draw some more hills, right? Some rolling hills into a valley like that. This will give me less points. We'll see that come through in a second, right? Gives me those sort of like less points as well. So again, I'm just creating this nice mountain range layer by layer, right? We're going to get into this a little bit more, taking this down on this smooth end, clicking OK, and then just kind of drawing out another sort of ridge, if you will. You get the idea. I'm just playing with the pencil tool. Makes life easy for me, but I want to get into more of my pro tips because I have a lot I need to talk about. But again, I'm just kind of setting up a nice little scene, right? Controlling these, the pencil tool, making it maybe jagged and all that detail when you need it. And then when you don't need all that detail, hey, guess what? Just change it over to smooth. Because you can see in this case, I do want this to be a little more smooth. Maybe not quite that smooth, but again, just kind of redrawing that part. You get the idea. Okay, let's move on. I got other things to show you. Let's throw a moon in here really fast, just because I would like one in here, right? Maybe a little gradient, zoop, like that. Okay, maybe changing these colors as well. Let's change this to a white, right? And it could fade down into maybe a little bit of purple. I don't know, something like that. Just kind of adding to it. All right, we can do that, sure. Okay. All right, have that done. I could throw a glow in here using graphic styles. Let's just give it a nice glow, and there we have our nice moon that's gonna light up this this landscape. Okay, but I want to put some stars in here now. You ready? Sanda from Croatia. Awesome, Rodrigo. Fantastic. Let's get into this. So many tips. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the star, by the way. I'll go in here to the star tool. And sometimes you're thinking, oh, a star, do I really want this exact star? Well, we can come in here and we can always, as I drag out, I can toggle between different points. So I can make this 7, 8, 9 pointed star just by hitting the up and down arrows is all I'm doing. Also, if you hold down the Option key, you'll get a true star, like so. So I just gave this a true star look, if you will. Let's get rid of this really fast. Get rid of that outer glow. Kind of deciding if I even want this. I don't know, but really I need to fill the sky with this, with a bunch of stars. So I'll use this one. I also drew out this one that I kind of like as well. We could see it off to the side right here, right? I might consider using it. I don't know, I'm not sure which one I'm gonna use, but you know what? I can actually make a scatter brush with both. And I use brushes all the time. So let's grab this star, let's drop it in here. Let's make it a scatter brush, click OK. And this is what usually will happen. You can't have gradients when it comes to scatter brushes. So that being said, and I wanted to point that out to you, change it to white, go into brushes. That is typically the added element. Let's drag it in there, scatter brush, click OK. Guess what? We can scatter both sides, okay? So we'll have this size be random, right? Maybe 80, actually let's make it really small. 10% the size. We can make it a little larger as well, 152% the size. Play with the spacing being random on both sides of the line. And you're just gonna wanna play with a lot of these numbers and be sensitive to how much it's gonna scatter it, right? Again, random, like so. Actually, no, I don't want to rotate it. Rotation's going to be fixed. We'll click OK. We'll hit N for pencil, or I could use the pen, but here's the star that I have. I can draw out that line like so, and we get a bunch of stars using the scatter brush. Here's what happens. You ready for this? Let me know if you have questions. Good to see everybody in here, but this is pretty cool. So I just drew out all these stars with this scatter brush. But the problem is, like, if I go over here and I want to add more stars over here, right, I have to go back in and select that brush like each time. So it's a pain. It's like, oh, I got to draw this other line, select that brush. Give me a break, right? I don't really want to do that. Actually, what I want to do is I want it to always keep the appearance. So right down here, let me check. Live, I am live. Right down here, I'm gonna turn off new art has basic appearance. So don't default to that basic line appearance, right? Just give me the stars or the last used appearance every time I draw, right? So that makes it much easier. And by the way, all these stars are actually being controlled by the stroke. So I can change the stroke of these as well. If I get them all selected. Selecting, let's just grab, say this line right here, right? Taking that point size down a little bit, as you can tell, right? Taking that down a little bit, just changing the size of those stars, okay? You get the idea. We made stars. That was fun. Let's move on. All right. That's funny. Do you have to create a new brush for the star effect? Yes, I did create a new brush right over here, right? And I have about 1,000 brushes in here that I end up using a lot. So that's why one of my tips is basically using brushes, because again, I use them all the time. Even this one, this is a fun one. Like if I wanted to have a snake in here, there's my fun little snake. That's also a brush as well, right? That we can kind of redraw whatever we want to do in that case. Cool. All right, let's get rid of that. Let's move on. Another fun thing, since we made this star, let's kind of have some fun with this really fast, right? Let's jump over here. Let's grab, I don't know, just a fun gradient. I'm gonna do this. This is just kind of a fun tip. I'm gonna make this star, okay? But I'm gonna hold down the tilde key and let me undo that. Ooh, that's really trippy. Oh, that's awesome. Let's turn that off. But all I have is this one line. So let's just increase this. Let's do this. Ready? Hold down the tilde key and then click and drag. And as you can see, you're going to create duplicates of that particular star, right? That's pretty trippy, right? Just the tilde key, click and drag when you create a star. Kind of fun. All right. Let's scroll down. So again, that's just super fun, but the tilde key does more things. I want to get into that later, by the way. Notice how it created individual stars right in here, but I could always change this any way I want, which is really fun. Okay, so let's remove that. Brushes, here's another fun one. Let's turn on this stuff. So these are just like pro tips and tricks. Probably for these stars, actually. Let's do this. Select same. Selecting the same stroke color properties. I'm just going to change this to overlay. Oh yeah, there we go. Just change that mode to overlay, just making it look kind of like a fun starry scene. But what I want to do is I want to add a new layer, and I'm going to show you what we can do with a simple ellipse. Because actually what I want to do is I want to have these rays of light shooting out from this moon, right? So right now I just drew a circle, and we can see this line right here. So see this line? We have this nice thick line. Properties panel, you can see this 23 point. We could make it 60, but check this out. This is the cool thing. As we go into the stroke, we can change this to a dashed line. So we'll change that to a dashed line. We'll give it a 20 points with a 20 gap, like so. We can up this to 40, right? And now we're getting these crazy bands, and let's really crank this up now as well. Okay, let's go up to 100, right? Let's change this to 500. Boom, there we have these awesome like rays of light. And we'll again change this to say overlay, for instance, and now we just have this like burst coming out from. It's a little intense. I might need to change it a little bit more. but this burst is just kind of coming out from that sun. And it's a little intense, I get it. I probably want to change that a little bit. Let's do just some nice soft light, drop down the opacity, kind of like that, right? And even move it behind some of the other things. So let's grab my moon. Let's make sure my moon. Oh, I think I actually have a blend mode on that moon, but you get the idea. Cool. Easy enough. Illustrator is saving, so let's have it do its thing. Wait for it. Wait for it. Again, just fun bursts. I could outline this and use it like anything else. I would actually have that trail out, by the way. But let's just size this up a little bit. There we go. There we go. Let's do something like that. Cool. That works so far. Okay, let's go into some other fun things we can do. So many things we can do. Yeah, let's dive into this. Let's add a texture over the tops, because a lot of times what I'll do is I'll grab, I don't know, if I want to add some texture to this, I can grab a rectangle, go into, say, Effect Gallery for this rectangle, and choose something like film grain. So this is what I'll do, because I want to give it, I don't want to make it look like everything that you see coming out of Illustrator where it doesn't have any texture, but I'm just adding film grain to this. We can control the graininess as well, right? We are expecting that. Click OK, right? Keep in mind, I could apply this to every object, but really I like to make it a layer over the top of everything to give it just a nice film grain. So putting that over everything, as you can see, taking that down right there. Wait for it. Again, it is a lovely filter, and let's change the blend mode again to something like overlay we could try. And now we just have this nice texture, right? Hopefully you could see that. Do you see that texture? Just creates a nice texture for this particular scene. So I'm into it. All right, stop touching my face. That is funny. Wash your hands. So cool. We can kind of step ahead. In fact, we can even see this version that I made earlier, right? We can see kind of a lot of those similar properties as we'd expect. But I might consider recoloring this as well, and that's why I love recolor artwork. I could start with this original one. I'll lock down that that texture. Let's just select everything. Let's go into to edit colors, and recolor artwork right there. I already think the colors are pretty good, but you can easily see how we could jump in, maybe lock down each of these color stops so they're all still going to be related, and we can try some different scenes, and we can go from day to night and change this oh so drastically if we want to. Again, going from night to day in a pretty smooth move in general, right? And always unlocking those colors, shifting it a little bit more. I can have some more dynamic range of colors. This works on anything, showing you that they work on gradients. They can work on more things if I decide I want to even have some freeform gradients, which is also one of my pro tips in here. As I select this sun, right? I should really make something else, but again, let's just take this. This just has a linear gradient on it. Has an outer glow, okay? It actually has just a gradient going from white to transparent. So that's all that's happening. It's just that gradient, right? But let's go in here. Let's select this color range, for instance. I'll go into my gradient panel, pull this out, right? Look, I don't even need all these color stops. Let's pull those off, right? Let's take this one. Let's shift it more yellow and have this one a little brighter, for instance. But really what I want to do is I want to show you this right in here. We want to make a freeform gradient. Clicking right there. I should have drawn a bird or something else, but we'll just deal with this sun, because I could have a radial gradient, but really what I want is I might want to have a highlight on this side. So right over here, we'll have a white there. For this point right here, add in yellow, like so. And then for this bottom part, we can dive into really tweaking this into the color that I want, right? Like so. Let's get it away from that. There we go. Added this other third point right down here. By the way, I can make a line too. So clicking right here, we can make a line. So lines, click, 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 and now it's going to create that smooth curve. And this could kind of be more like a shadow, giving this a little bit more depth. All right. No, oh, you guys are being funny. All right, so you get the idea. I'm not crazy about this, but I did want to show you the ability to add freeform gradients. I probably could have done it on a bird in here or something, but you get the idea. And here's kind of the final illustration. I think that is it. Okay. Fantastic. Do you guys have any question? Oh, how to combine shapes? We do that all day long. I did it with these clouds right in here when we start combining shapes. Let me lock down everything and just play with a new layer, right? So we do this with the clouds. Super easy to do. We'll make sure that it's just going to be white. Come in here. Boom, boom. Let's just add a couple circles like so. Okay, we can select all three of these. And we could easily use the shape builder tool, right? Shape builder lets us kind of determine what to keep and what to take away. But I can combine these two circles like that, combining that little part like so, combining that over there. You get the idea. Throw a gradient on there, and that's set up. So you get the idea. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, everyone. I think I've gone for a while now. And yeah, so you could see how I did this tree, by the way. Somebody's asking about doing the tree. I can unlock it. Yeah, these are just simple spheres. There's nothing really too complex about it, by the way. Just 3 simple spheres right down here. We just have this, base for it. So I don't really know. I think what's clever about this, actually, is right down here, adding the shadow. So what is this? Well, guess what? If we go in the Properties panel, or even my Appearance panel, let's get rid of this. In my Appearance panel, you can see that there's a Gaussian blur for that shadow. So I'll turn that off, and you can see it's just that tree shape with a gradient on it, and the blur just sells it a little bit more and makes it look nice. And I should probably put it underneath the tree, but that's okay. You get the idea. Cool. I think that's about it. There's more tips I have, but that's all I got for you right now. Oh yeah, this is another thing I would do. Another fun thing actually would be to add patterns on some of this stuff. So this is another thing I'd think about since we were talking about texture. Let me just grab this. I can go over to the Appearance panel and I can add a new fill. And in this case, I'm going to add sort of just a different sort of grain. So we have all these different options for these different little dots that we can add. For this, we can take this down to like soft light. Oh geez, no, not quite. Overlay, you're not really seeing it, darn it. Let's just keep it normal, right? But what I could do here is I can control the density of this particular pattern. So I can grab the scale tool, and this is my last tip, then I'm done, or the rotate tool, but I could grab the scale tool and hold down the tilde key, right? It's the squiggly little line, and I can click and drag and make that pattern tighter, right? Like that, just by holding down the tilde key, right? Same thing for rotation. If I decide I want to rotate it differently, holding down the tilde key will allow you to rotate the pattern and not the object itself. All right, which is super helpful. And again, let's take down that pattern. Now it just has a little texture. You get the idea. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Let me know if you have thoughts. My name is Paul Tranny. Hopefully it's listed somewhere, maybe not, but feel free to follow me on all the social medias. I would appreciate it. Just trying to go through my top Illustrator tips and tricks. The tilde key is magic. Can I show you how to do a backflip? No, because I don't know how to do one. Who knew the tilde key has? There's so many secret little, like, your tools have tools in Illustrator, so it makes it fun. But thanks so much for watching, everybody. Appreciate you. Go ahead and follow me on all the socials, and we'll be in touch. So thanks so much, everyone. We will see ya.